Now then, people, and welcome to another instalment from the Just Joe Football Show. This is going to be a new feature that any opposition that Leeds come up against, we're going to be doing a combined 11 with another content creator from that specific football club. So before your opposition preview over on All Leeds TV a little bit later on, make sure you check this out, a combined 11 of Leeds versus Fulham. Please share, subscribe, and like. I want to try and get to 1,000 subs in a week. That would be some mean feat. We're halfway there. So please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already and hit the notification button. And let's get into it. You heard it right. It's going to be Just Joe, and it's going to be all about football. He showed descent. Bamford, it's in! Yes! Yes! I don't see many more appearances from Pablo. Fantastic inaugural guest. I have to pull out the big guns. Welcome, guys, to the first episode of the Combined 11. I've got Jack Kelly here from the Fulhamish pod. Thank you for coming on. How are you, Jack?
Yeah, fine, thanks. Good morning. How are you?
Yeah, good. Are you looking forward to the game? Nervous?
Yeah, it's a huge game for us. Leeds are pretty much safe, so yeah, the pressure's on us to win.
Yeah. I wish Leeds fans would believe what you've just said, because some still think that we're going to get pulled into a relegation dogfight. But I think we're all right. And of course, we'll have some more lads from the Fulhamish pod over on All Leeds TV this evening for opposition preview. So make sure you tune into that 7 p.m. on All Leeds TV. But yeah, let's get straight into it, Jack, then. I've gone with a 4-4-2 initially. We're going to have a chat about each position, put them in. We may change the formation as we go through. But yeah, let's kick it off. Goalkeeper. We've got your man, Areola, right?
I would go with Areola based on where he's been, where he's played, performances this season. I think Moulier's quite young, not so much been experienced as such. He's had an okay season, but he's had a couple of mistakes in him. But you'd have to put Areola in there.
Yeah, I'd have to agree, mate. I mean, Leeds fans won't like this. I mean, we think Meslier is amazing. We genuinely believe he will go on to be France's #1. He's just been called up to the under-21s for the first time and actually broke the record for the most clean sheets for a goalkeeper under the age of 21, eclipsing Joe Hart's record. But I have to agree with you in the goalkeeper position just because of experience and the club that he's played for. And he's made some important saves for Fulham this season as well. So I'd have to agree with Areola. Right back, mate. I'm backing Luke Ayling all day, you know. He might be getting an England call-up we've seen this morning on social media, which would be a turn-up for the Bucks.
I haven't seen that. The thing about Ayling is I don't think about a lot of Leeds players is they've gone from mediocre championship players and then Bielsa's just transformed to the next level. So you can't really argue with the fact that you want to put Ayling in the team. And then you'd argue Kenny Tete for us. But I think based on the season that Leeds have had and how Ayling has come on in the last couple of years in the Championship and now in the Premier League, I'm more than happy to put him in there. But Kenny Tete is a good shout. Champions League semi-finalist last year, but I think Ayling should be the one.
Yeah, I think he's up there with the most progressive runs, progressive passes with some key players in Europe, which is absolutely insane. And it just shows what Bielsa's done to him. And this morning we're hearing that Ayling, Patrick Bamford and Calvin could well be in Gareth Southgate's England shout. I know not a lot of outside of Leeds would agree with that, but me as a Leeds fan, it'd be amazing to see Luke Ayling in that England setup, 100%. Centre-backs then, mate. I know the kid Anderson's done really well since he's come in, right?
I was thinking about this earlier, and you look at your centre-backs. I mean, I'm looking at the lineup that you played against Chelsea, Llorente and Struijk. I'm not sure if I pronounced that wrong. And then you've got Koch as well.
Yeah.
But based on what I've seen this season from Joachim, I have to put him in. He's just been called up to the Danish international side. He's basically come in, and without him, we would be finished right now. I know him and Tosin have been a great partnership, but him especially taking the armband as a lone player is quite remarkable. So I think Anderson has to go in there, and his performance against Liverpool the other week was just outstanding.
Yeah, I'd agree with you, mate. Like I said, before we did this, I provisionally put a squad together and he was in there, and I figured we would have one each. And to be honest, it's hard for me to pick, but I'm going to go for Pascal Struijk alongside Anderson. We've coined him on All Leeds TV, Virgil van Struijk. Yeah, he's wanted by both Belgium and Netherlands. Both have been trying to get him to commit. He hasn't yet. He doesn't want to make that decision. But I'm going to go for Pascal Strout, because whenever he does play at centre-back, our record is much better. And we've had like 14 different partnerships now at centre-back. So I'm going to go for him. Left back, Jack, we don't have a recognised left back. We use Jani there, sometimes Dallas. So I'm happy to concede this position if you've got someone to drop in there.
Well, I'm looking at your lineup. You played Alioski there on Saturday. I think Alioski's a good player. Scored against us last season.
Yeah.
But in terms of Ola Aina, I mean, we've got Joe Bryan, who of course got us to the Prem with his goals in the playoff final. We've got Robinson, who I think since his red card against Chelsea hasn't been up to scratch. So I'm going to put Ola Aina in there because he's been our most improved player this season. Started at right back and now is a bit flexible. Can play at centre back and a back three, back five, and now is playing left back and doing a really good job there. So I'm more than happy to give that to Ola. I think he's been magnificent for us.
Happy to that. I know not a lot of Leeds fans will agree. Obviously, Stuart Dallas, Mr. Reliable, etc. But I just think, just for the purpose of this, that we'll go with a player that's known. I know you mentioned Aina as a right back, but basically he's a defender. Stuart Dallas is not. So let's go with Aina there. You mentioned you want to go 4-3-3 just off there. What's your thinking behind that?
My thinking behind it is having two holding midfielders, and we'll come on to who. I'm sure it's an obvious who's going to be there, and then one sort of marauding midfielder just ahead. And I'd like to put my hat in the ring of who I think that should be, and obviously we could have a debate about that. And then we have 3 forwards, 2 wingers, 1 striker.
Cool. I think that's the way to go, then, isn't it, mate? I think that's the way to go. Let's speak about the midfielders you want to put in there, then, Jack.
Well, I mean, if I'm jumping ahead, I'd go with the 2 holding midfielders, Calvin Phillips and Harrison Reed. Yeah. We'll just talk about them for now. I know it's obviously your show. I'm just saying.
No, let's do it.
Calvin Phillips has been fantastic this season. He's been unlucky with injuries. He will get an England call up. I'm sure of it. Not even for the next upcoming.
Do you think he makes the Euros squad?
I'm thinking the Euros, just because we are really short in that position. We got Declan Rice, and you said Calvin Phillips, and you say Eric Dyer, who can slot into that position, and then we flip it and we go Harrison Reed. Harrison Reed is English. He's come on absolute leaps and bounds this season for Fulham. He's a terrier in the Championship. Absolute terrier in the Premier League as well. Been fantastic. Countless man of the match performances. And a shout for England. He hasn't been touted by the mainstream media, but I've certainly put my thoughts out there that Harrison Reed could get in the England squad just because we are light in those positions. But I don't know if you agree. I would say that Calvin Phillips and Harrison Reed as a double pivot.
Yeah, 100%. In a 4-2-3-1, let's say. To be honest, that was my thinking, because when I put it together last night, I was saying Harrison Reed's got to go in there because I do really, really rate him, Jack. It'll be interesting to see. I understand why you would say be in there with a shout for England as well, to be fair. Whether or not he makes it, it'll be interesting to see. I suppose if he makes this, next friendly's call up, then there's a chance, because I agree we are light. And to be honest, I don't really rate Eric Dyer, so I'd much probably rather see Reed, Calvin and Rice, to be honest, if they were your options. But happy to go with Reed and Calvin there. Both had great seasons, and like you say, Reed was tearing it up in the Championship as well, to be fair. So who's your I guess the 10, the marauding midfielder that you mentioned?
He's not really a 10. But he can do that position. I mean, he led the press on Saturday night against Manchester City for a small period of time in the first half. And that is Andre Frank Zambo-Anguissa. Now, this guy, I think, was our best player. And probably, no, I'm not going to say that. He was our best player when we came to Ellen Road. I would argue the best player on the pitch, even though we lost 4-3. I remember the goal we set up for Bobby Cordova-Reid, where he bullied and shrugged off Calvin Phillips and played that lovely ball into him. He's not a 10. I mean, our 10 is Ruben Loftus-Cheek, but for the purpose of this, I would just stick him not as a 10, but maybe just in front of those back 2, and he can kind of marauder around, slot into CDM when need be. We're talking as if this is going to happen.
But, we'll put together on FIFA, mate, and go on Weekend League.
Definitely get Elite or Gold 3 at least. I know you'd probably want to put maybe Tyler Roberts in there and Stuart Dallas, who of course plays centre mid on Saturday. But this is where I thought the first big debate could come in terms of that position, and I'm going to have to put Anguissa in that.
Do you know what, mate? I'm not going to, because when I was putting together mine, and he did come to mind, because I do agree. I think in that first game, although we won the game, and I think 4-3, you might not agree, sort of flattered Fulham a little bit. We sort of fell to pieces, I think, for about 10 minutes, and obviously he scored 2 goals. But yeah, Anguissa did, you're right, he probably was the best player on the pitch. And I know a lot of Leeds fans as well are massive fans of him, because I'm right in saying he went out on loan when you were in the Championship, then came back, and he's just torn it up, hasn't he?
Yeah, he went to, well, first of all, when Parker first came in, he put him in the team, and we beat a Bournemouth, our only away win in the horrendous 18-19 season. And he was magnificent. And we thought, we've got an actual player on our hands here, even though we bought him for 30 million, and he turned out, he was turning out to be a flop. He went to Villarreal when we were in the Championship, tore it up there, and now he's come in and he's missed 1 game for us, and that was against Liverpool. He didn't come off the bench, but superb player, and he's now worth more than we bought him for, which is fantastic for us.
Yeah, and I guess obviously not saying it's going to happen, but there's a resale value there if you were to drop down, etc., and have that push to come straight back up. I'm happy to concede that, mate, to be honest. I know a lot of Leeds fans, again, it's Stuart Dallas, but he's hard to put into these sort of sides for me, because he just plays anywhere and everywhere. And if there's a recognised actual Anguissa plays that position week in, week out, then we have to go with that. If we go with the 4-3-3, then on the right-hand side, mate, I got to go with Rafinha. Absolutely unbelievable player. The fact we paid 17 million for him is absolutely crazy. Arguably for me, if you take Martinez out, goalkeeper, I think value pound for pound is probably the best signing in the Premier League this season. I can't see many for value for money that have had the impact he has, and the fact that he's got suitors higher up the league and across Europe, it's not a surprise. But what have you made to Rafinha, mate? Would you agree with that straight in there?
He's the player I'm most not looking forward to seeing on Friday, because he's dangerous as hell. I think I remember his goal against Everton. I mean, he makes that little jink of space and actually managed to find the far corner. I think he's a really good player, really dangerous winger, really someone who can get in behind. He's got a lot of pace, a lot of skill. And I remember there was a game, was it against Crystal Palace? He pulled off this
against Gary Cahill. Ended his career.
Saw him a new one. And I've been really impressed with I won't lie, at the start of the season I was thinking, Leeds are going to get so much love from Sky because of and BT and because of the way they play, and they have. And to be fair, and then they lost 6-1 to United and still getting praise. I was thinking, I'm not sure. If this was Fulham, it would be a different story. But I have grown to be like, right, they are going to cement their place in the Premier League this season. They are a good team. They have proved it, and they play very good football. So, and Rafinha's been a huge part of that. So, I'm more than happy to put him on the right hand side.
Yeah, mate, I agree with you in that respect. Getting beat 6-2, wasn't it, by Manchester United? And a few games, and then I understand that we go and have a go, but then the narrative was whenever we got beat, every opposing fan would be like, "Oh yeah, but they tried to play football. Oh yeah, but they tried," and it got a bit frustrating for me as a fan as well, because I'm like, for God's sake, man. But I understand where they're coming from in the fact that we continue to have a go, but we've seen as the season's gone on, we're getting a lot tighter against the top 6 sides, as you've seen against Chelsea. I don't know if you count Arsenal in there, but we had a 0-0 against them. And to be fair, in April will be the true test, because we have Liverpool, City, Manchester United in, one after the other. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. But yeah, Rafinha on the right. Who's on the left? Are we looking at Lookman possibly?
Jack Harrison or Lookman. I mean, that is the one. I think I'm going to back my boy Ademola Lookman, just because of the impact he's made for Fulham. I mean, he scored a few goals. Scored a very crucial goal against Sheffield United to win that game, and putting us in a position now where we can maybe stay up. His assist against Tottenham away, magnificent. Yeah, he's just been our brightest spark this season. When he first burst on, and we had nothing. Actually, we had like 0 points, and he finally changed the game against Sheffield United, scored the goal. Oh no, we drew the game, but still, magnificent player. I think we will sign him permanently, and a lot of our loan players if we do stay up, and that's obviously a different subject. I'm sure you talk about that tonight with the other guys, but in terms of this team, I would put Lookman on the left and Rafinha on the right. That's a fantastic going forward. And then, of course, we'll talk about the striker. And I'm sure we know who's coming, basically.
Do you know what? Jack Harrison had a great start to the season, has fallen off recently, if I'm being totally honest. Has been on the bench a few times, to be honest, of late. And I agree with you in the fact that the impact that Lookman's had, I think, to be honest, Fulham's business has been decent because it has really give you a fighting chance, whereas at the start of the season, no one really... Am I right in saying Paddy Power paid out after 3 games as well for you to be relegated, which is crazy.
Carragher said what he needed to say, and then Paddy Power like, okay, we've seen enough. We're paying out. They're 3-0 down to Villa, and that's very, very embarrassing for a team who had a 13-year stint in the Premier League. It's just mad.
Yeah, but egg may be on their face, mate, come the end of the season.
Hopefully,
yeah, it would be class. It would be, because that is crazy. But yeah, I'm happy to go with Lookman just due to the impact that he's had. And up top, mate, then, is there anyone that you can sort of come at Paddy Bamford with?
It is Patrick Bamford. I mean, I was thinking Rodrigo, but Bamford has played more this season. He seems to be the #1 striker. I'm not sure if he's going to play on Friday. I'm sure you have more information about that than I do.
Yeah, it was a dead leg, so I think he should be all right. And the fact that it's coming out from the journals today that he's in for a shout with England, you'd imagine that the knock isn't bad, because surely they'd have contacted to see whether or not it is going to keep him out. So hopefully he makes it, because he's vital to what we do. He's had a fantastic season. I think he got his 100th appearance for Leeds against Chelsea at the weekend. He's got 13 goals, a number of assists, and to be honest, Jack, are you surprised the impact he's had? Because I know I am as a Leeds fan.
I'm really surprised. I thought this guy, even in the Championship, I didn't see him as like a threat. And I know that's disrespectful, but from someone who, obviously last season we watched the likes of Ollie Watkins, Alexander Mitrovic, absolutely banging them in him.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how many Bamford got last season in the end, but he did score against us home and away. And then he did he score against us at Ellen Road? I think he did. But he's been great. For Leeds, really important. The hat-trick against Villa was unbelievable. That really did get him on the map, as to say. But I think with Wilson injured and with Dominic Calvert-Lewin dropping off and Ings is injured as well, that Patrick Bamford makes sense because of the season. And it's like, you've had a good season, now test yourself at England. If you can do it at this level, you may get a chance at the Euros. Yeah. But in terms of long-term for the summer, we have so many good options going forward that he might just miss out, but this is his chance now.
Yeah, I agree, mate. And I think had we have had this conversation in the Championship, Patrick Bamford for England, we'd have gone, are you talking?
Even Ollie Watkins as well.
Yeah, no, exactly. So I think we're happy to go with that. So that's a decent side. So I'm just going to flash it up on the screen now. Okay, so this is the final team that we've gone with, Jack. Unfortunately, there's a spot at the centre-back position because FIFA are off the head and have decided to not put Pascal in the game for whatever reason, or it might just be footbin. But he's not there. But what we're saying about this side, mate, how do you think it'd get on in the Premier League?
I think that's a superb team. I mean, if you take out of context how Fulham have played this season, where we are in the table, not how we played, because I think we played quite well at times this season. But I think that team is top half. I'd say 10th in the Prem, because you've got the solidness you've got from Anderson and Stroke at the back. Yeah. The forward the forwards are fantastic. You've got goals in Bamford and Lookman and Rafinha.
Yeah.
Absolute guile and stillness in midfield with Phillips, Sambo and Reed, and Ola Aina, who's come on leaps and bounds and can play anywhere along the back four, and Areola, great shot stopper. That's a fantastic team. And then I suppose we talk about who's the manager, because I love Parker so much. I'm sure you absolutely love Bielsa, so that would be tricky. Maybe both of them.
Yeah, I'd have to. Parker could be his coach or second in command.
Yeah, he can do that. Yeah,
because Bielsa's the man. I mean, I've got a tattoo of him. That's how much I love the man. So he means that much to me and Leeds United fans. But more than happy with that side, mate. I think, like you say, we'll be looking at mid-table, top half, and then a few additions in the summer, and I think we'll be pushing on Europe, mate. But
let's do it.
I'm
behind us now.
Definitely, mate. But thank you so much for coming on and doing that for me, Jack. As I mentioned earlier, guys, make sure you watch the opposition preview on All Leeds TV, where we've got two lads from Fulhamish, and we'll be chatting about the game. And Jack, where can we find you and what are you doing these days, mate?
What, me personally?
Yeah.
At Jakelli FFC, 1K FFC at the end. That's my Twitter, my Instagram, and yeah. And then I'm on the Fulhamish YouTube channel hosting SW6 Essential every week, and I'm on the podcast sometimes and full time. That's a lot of stuff, but yeah.
Yeah. And just quickly before you go, quick score prediction for Friday night.
I have to back Fulham. I mean, I have to. We have to win the game.
It's a must win, right?
And Leeds' form of late, the loss to West Ham and you know the draw to Chelsea, they haven't scored goals of late. I'm going to go 1-0 Fulham, and I think it's going to be a very tough game. And I think Leeds will have their chances as they always do.
Yeah, I think for me, the thing that favours us, obviously, we don't have a great record in London. Haven't been there since 2017. A lot of Leeds fans are looking at this as the game that can break the curse. I think what favours Leeds is, like you said, Fulham have to win. The fact Newcastle and Brighton are playing as well on the Saturday, it's a must win. So Fulham have to come out, and the fact they have to come out leaves space in behind for Leeds, and hopefully we can come away with a 2-1 win, I think. But it is going to be cagey. I think it might be tight. But yeah, thank you very much for coming on, Jack. And have a great weekend, mate.
Yeah, you too. Thanks.